started college last year, I was thrilled to be assigned Claire as my roommate in the dorms. We hit it off instantly, bonding over our shared love of indie music and French films. Claire just seemed so cultured and worldly compared to me, a small-town girl new to big city life. At first, I relished having such a built-in new best friend to experience college with. We did everything together. Got coffee, studied, worked out, went to parties. Sure, sometimes Claire would get irritated over minor things like me borrowing her makeup or eating her yogurt, but I figured we were still getting used to each other's living habits. By second semester, though, Claire's flare-ups became more frequent and intense. One day, I came back to the room to find she had dumped all my clothes on the floor because I had left a dirty fork in the sink. When I confronted her, she froze me out for days. I started to reconsider how healthy our friendship was. But then Claire would be so sweet again, bringing me coffee and suggesting fun weekend activities. She seemed genuinely remorseful after her outbursts, blaming stress or PMs. I felt guilty doubting her and figured I just needed to be more considerate. Things finally reached a breaking point one night when I came home an hour after curfew. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. When I tried to squeeze past her, she slapped me hard across the face. "No one stands me up," she yelled before storming out. I collapsed onto my bed, sobbing and terrified at this sudden violent behavior. The next day, I asked Claire bluntly what was going on with her. "What are you talking about?" she responded innocently. She claimed not to remember the previous night or attacking me. I almost questioned my own memories and perception, but I knew I had to distance myself from Claire for my own safety. I started avoiding our room as much as possible, studying late at the library and crashing at friends' places. This seemed to provoke Claire's rage further. She would leave me threatening voicemails if I was out past 10 Mon, which was not against any dorm rules. I contemplated reporting her erratic behavior, but dreaded further retaliation. One night I came back to the room to find my pet goldfish that I'd brought from home lying dead on my pillow. I knew Claire had killed it to send me a twisted message, but when I confronted her, she conveniently had no recollection of it. At this point, I went to campus housing and requested an immediate room change. They were reluctant at first, with dorms all full, but after I broke down explaining Claire's disturbing actions, they agreed I could temporarily move to a converted lounge. I felt a huge sense of relief after getting distance from Claire and her unpredictable fury, but she did not let me cut contact so easily. She would show up pounding on my temporary room door in the middle of the night, making bizarre threats if I didn't come back. One evening, I entered my makeshift room to discover Claire standing there calmly, waiting for me. "Surprise! They agreed to let me move here too," she said cheerily. "Now we can be together again." I sprinted to housing and refused to leave until they took action. After examining documented evidence of Claire's harassment, they finally expelled her from the dorms. But I knew she would not give up so easily. I started taking long, circuitous routes across campus and never walked alone at night. Sometimes I would catch glimpses of Claire lurking in the shadows nearby. She had become obsessed with tracking my every move. One weekend, I went home and relished my escape from Claire's disturbing fixation. I decided to stay and do laundry at my parents' house, but when I went to get clothes from the dryer in the cellar, Claire was hiding in the corner waiting for me. She'd broken into my parents' house and rode 600 miles to find me. I threatened to call the police, which finally made her flee, but after that I was constantly looking over my shoulder wherever I went. I considered getting a restraining order, but Claire was somehow always one step ahead. She would turn up exactly where I was, but be gone by the time police arrived with no proof of harassment. I started wondering if she had set up hidden cameras or recording devices to monitor me. The stalking and intimidation persisted for months, until finally I just stopped leaving my dorm room, except for classes. My whole college experience had turned into a nightmare of hypervigilance and paranoia. I felt like the only solution was to completely disappear. So at the end of freshman year, without breathing a word to anyone, I withdrew from college and left town, relocating across the country. I learned later from old friends that after I vanished, Claire also disappeared once she lost track of me. To this day, I constantly scan crowds and peek around corners in fear of catching a glimpse of Claire's face. That innocent girl who had seemed so similar to me at first had morphed into my most terrifying tormentor. Her obsession haunted me for years, making me question who to trust. You truly never know what darkness someone hides or what they are capable of. Even a seemingly perfect roommate. When I started college last fall, I was excited to have a random roommate and make a new best friend. The university matched me with a girl named Alexis, who seemed nice enough over email. When we finally met move-in day, she gave me a bubbly greeting, and her parents helped us get settled in. The first few weeks living together went smoothly. We had different schedules and interests, but coexisted fine. About a month into school, strange things started happening. I'd come back to the room to find Alexis digging through my dresser drawers or peering under my mattress. When I'd ask what she was doing, she'd make casual excuses, like looking for a pen or thought I saw a bug. One afternoon, I came back to the room unexpectedly and caught her trying on my clothes. She didn't even look embarrassed, just murmured that she wanted to see if they'd fit. I laughed it off nervously, not wanting to overreact, but finding her going through my personal belongings made me uneasy. Her intrusions progressed to her, using my toiletries, makeup, and even eating my food without asking. When I confronted her, she acted confused and promised to stop. I figured she was just immature and didn't understand boundaries. Things took a darker turn one night as I was heading to bed. Alexis casually asked if I could put my mattress on the floor next to hers so we could build a fort and watch movies together. I politely declined, saying I preferred my lofted bed, silently begging her not to push the issue. The next morning, I awoke to a loud crash. My eyes flew open to see my mattress lying on the floor. Alexis peered down at me from the top bunk, saying she'd wanted us to be closer friends, so she moved me down there while I slept. I was livid, but still hesitant to report her at that point. She became remorseful and insisted it wouldn't happen again. I seriously considered requesting a new roommate, but wondered if I was overreacting. My friends agreed her behavior was bizarre, but thought switching rooms might be premature. Over the next few weeks, Alexis gradually resumed her intrusive activities, if I ever left the door unlocked, like stroking my hairbrush and spraying my perfume around. A creepy vibe lingered when we were together in the room. I started spending all my free time in the library or student center to avoid her. One Friday night, I came back to the room and sensed immediately something was off. Alexis sat on her bed, gazing at me with a peculiar smirk. She said she had a special surprise waiting for me since she knew I had been stressed lately. My stomach dropped as she pointed to a brand new aquarium now occupying the limited open space in our tiny dorm room. Inside swam a dozen minnows circling endlessly. I stood staring in confusion. Alexis beamed and explained she wanted us to share the fun of caring for pets together. I apathetically informed her that fish were prohibited in the dorms for a reason. We simply did not have room for a bulky aquarium that I expressly did not ask for or want. Alexis's upbeat facade instantly crumbled. Her face contorted in anger as she shrieked that she'd tried so hard to be a good friend and make me happy. She accused me of always resisting her generosity. Her raging seemed disproportionate and insane for the situation. At that moment, I knew I needed to get out of this room permanently for my own safety. I sprinted to resident advisor's room down the hall and spilled out the whole bizarre tale, feeling foolish I hadn't acted sooner. Mercifully, they took my side, and I was allowed to move to a new room that night. I gradually learned from others on the floor that they had all found Alexis's behavior unsettling and intrusive as well. She had zeroed in on me since I was her actual roommate, but she had made everyone uncomfortable with her complete lack of boundaries. Her family ended up withdrawing her from school shortly after this incident. I still feel haunted remembering her deranged rage and violating encroachments. She acted so innocently friendly at first before revealing her true delusional, obsessive nature. I'm grateful I trusted my instincts to get away from her twisted grasp when I did. For a while afterwards, loud noises would jolt me awake, thinking she had come back. Having a stranger cross so many intimate lines left me feeling unsafe in what should have been a secure new home. Time has restored my ability to trust people again and set healthy boundaries. But I'll never forget that harrowing early lesson in roommate screening. Psychotic people can conceal surprising darkness behind seemingly harmless exteriors. Moving to a new city where I knew no one, I was relieved when my coworker Anna mentioned her roommate would be moving out soon. Anna said I was welcome to take the empty bedroom in her apartment. The rent was affordable, the location was great, and having a built-in friend already there made it ideal. I happily signed the lease and moved in the following week. Anna and I hit it off right away. We would cook together, watch movies, and explore the city. Things were going perfectly until the day Anna's ex-roommate Lucy came by unexpectedly while I was at work. Anna had forgotten to tell me they were still entangled in a nasty custody battle over their elderly cat, Mitzi. According to Anna, when she opened the door, Lucy barged in demanding to see Mitzi. Anna tried to block her from entering, but crazy Lucy shoved past her and ransacked Anna's room, searching for the cat. When Anna attempted to stop her, Lucy violently lashed out. I was horrified when I arrived home to find Anna with bruises and scrapes. She said she had managed to call 911 and Lucy fled before police arrived. I felt awful Anna had endured this traumatic ordeal alone. I insisted we change the locks immediately in case Lucy tried to come back. Over the next week, Anna seemed emotionally fragile, constantly peering out the window, as if expecting to see Lucy lurking. She no longer wanted to go out much, just stayed home fretting over Mitzi. I reminded Anna she had the restraining order if Lucy showed up again, but something about the whole situation seemed off. One evening, I arrived home to find 2 officers at our apartment questioning Anna about Lucy's whereabouts. Anna claimed complete ignorance and innocence. The police said while Anna did have a restraining order, Lucy had been missing for 4 days and her abandoned car was found across town. They were checking all known locations, including ours. I could tell they suspected Anna of foul play, which seemed absurd. I intervened and insisted Anna had been with me or at work, accounting for her time. The officers left with grave expressions, advising us to call if we heard from Lucy. Anna broke down, terrified Lucy might appear seeking retaliation. The next morning, Anna begged me to stay home from work with her since she was too rattled to be alone. Around noon, we heard a loud bang at the front door. Anna squeezed my hand fearfully, whispering she's here. But when I looked, no one was there. I double-checked the locks and assured Anna we were safe. Over the next few days, Anna's paranoia spiraled out of control. She stopped sleeping and barely ate. She claimed to hear Lucy's footsteps, see her shadowy figure at the window, and find signs of her attempts to break in. But I never witnessed any of the alarming things Anna described. I urged Anna to get help, believing she was having some sort of mental break. Late one night while I was reading in bed, I heard frantic thumps and cries from Anna's room. I rushed to find her huddled on the floor, staring wildly around, yelling she's here. To stop her, but we were alone. I turned on all the lights and convinced Anna to take deep breaths. After she calmed down, I insisted she sleep in my room where I could watch over her. The next morning, I came home during my lunch break to check on Anna and take her to a therapist. The apartment was empty, but I noticed the acrid smell of bleach everywhere. Then I saw the bathroom doorknob was missing. Inside, the sink was freshly scrubbed through. The rest of the room was filthy. Uneasy, I went to call Anna when I heard a whimper from her bedroom closet. I flung open the doors to find Anna bound and gagged inside, fresh blood oozing from her temple. She cried that Lucy had attacked her again and locked her in. I wanted to believe her given all the trauma she had been through lately. But something wasn't adding up. I couldn't keep accepting these horrifying stories when I never actually saw evidence of Lucy myself. I decided I needed to install security cameras around the apartment when Anna wasn't there. I had to figure out what was really going on for both our sakes. The next evening, when Anna went to her therapy appointment, I quickly set up the cameras angled at the front door, windows, and main rooms. Everything seemed fine until 3 days later. Reviewing the footage, I gasped as a masked figure crept through the living room and into Anna's bedroom, seeming to know the apartment well. I grabbed my phone to call the police immediately, but just as I picked it up, I heard the apartment door open and Anna call out hello. I greeted her calmly, then went into the bathroom, claiming I felt sick. There I sent Anna a text begging her to run because someone was in the apartment. Within a minute, I heard her frantic screams. I rushed out, ready to defend her, but found Anna laughing gleefully on the couch. She had set up this elaborate hoax with a friend to try and make me as paranoid as her. Sympathetic to her mental state, they had agreed to help stage Anna's claims about Lucy. Appalled at this manipulative betrayal, I told Anna I was moving out immediately and urged her to get serious help. She broke down and admitted being obsessed with controlling me and others through fabrication since childhood. She shared other disturbing stories from her past I will never repeat. I packed as quickly as possible, my hands shaking and mind reeling. This experience left me wary and suspicious, constantly questioning events and people's motives. But I learned not to ignore my doubts and instincts. If certain stories and behaviors seem questionable, unexplained, or inconsistent, don't just accept them at face value regardless of your relationship. Protect your safety and sanity, even if it means distancing yourself from toxic, manipulative people. When I started college last fall, I was thrilled to be assigned a single dorm room. I had heard nightmare roommate stories and wanted to avoid that drama, but a month into the semester, I received an email informing me that a new transfer student would be moving into the vacant bed over my objections. I tried to make the best of the situation when Megan arrived. She seemed quiet and shy, so I hoped we might peacefully coexist. The first odd incident occurred a week later. I woke up to find Megan standing silently over my bed in the dark. She claimed she needed to find a textbook, but couldn't explain why she was staring at me sleeping. I let it go as an awkward moment, but strange events continued. Megan began mimicking my clothing, hairstyle, even my walk and gestures. She seemed fascinated with me, watching my every move. She'd appear frequently at my side without warning. I changed in the bathroom after catching her observing me dress. Things escalated when I found Megan one night crouched beside my bed whispering my name. When I screamed and jolted up, she ran back to her bed, pretending to sleep, heart pounding. I turned on the lights to find a huge kitchen knife hidden under her pillow. Terrified, I reported Megan's behavior to campus security, but with no solid threats. They just tightened patrols of our room. The college offered me no other recourse but to tough it out with my potentially dangerous stalker of a roommate. In the cafeteria one day, I noticed Megan imitating the way I cut my food and gripped my fork. A friend at another table caught my eye and mouth. "Get out now," I nodded, resolving to demand a new room assignment immediately. That afternoon, I entered my room to find Megan facing the wall, vigorously scratching something into the plaster with a penknife. My photo was taped to the wall with the scratched words "always together" surrounding it. Megan turned and gave me a deranged smile. I convinced campus police to detain her for psych evaluation. They discovered hidden photos of me, disturbing drawings, and my hairs braided together in her desk. I was granted an immediate room change and restraining order. Weeks later, feeling cautiously relieved, I awoke to the shriek of the fire alarm. As we evacuated, flames engulfed the entire dorm wing. In the horrified aftermath, rumors swirled that arson was suspected. A few nights later, loud banging on my new dorm room door jolted me upright. Heart seizing, I yelled for the visitor to go away. The banging continued, accompanied by a girl's giggling. Only when I threatened to call police did the sounds cease. Despite deadbolting my door and avoiding going anywhere alone, I couldn't shake the sense I was being watched. Megan was still barred from campus property, but I feared her obsessive madness was not so easily deterred. Soon after, I was heading back to my room alone one night when I noticed the hallway lights flickering. I quickened my pace as a feeling of intense unease washed over me. Rounding the corner, I halted with a scream. There at my door stood a figure dressed in my clothes, wearing a long dark wig, my name tag pinned to her shirt. As she turned to face me, my heart froze in terror. Megan held an uncannily accurate portrait she had painted of me, her wide eyes searing into mine. I flashed back to those deranged, scribbled words on the wall, always together. She had been imminent in her delusions. Darting past her, I knew I would not feel safe anywhere with Megan free and obsessed. That night, I lay frozen, listening to Megan pacing and crying in the hall for hours, begging to be let in, clawing at the door like an animal. I didn't sleep at all. Unable to study or eat, I informed the school I was dropping out for psychiatric reasons. They responded with sympathetic counselors and lawyers, but no real security. I feared for my sanity and my life. In my parents' remote country house, I finally slept peacefully for weeks, until one night something woke me. Creeping downstairs, I saw that the front door was wide open. I ran to close it and froze in utter horror. There stood a figure dressed in my own clothes, a picture of me clutched in her hands. Megan had found me. Her sick fixation could not be stopped. As she turned and our eyes locked in the moonlight, I knew no one would ever comprehend the depths of her madness. Some horrors once encountered never release their grip, even if you escape their physical clutches. Megan's derangement had closed like a vice on my mind and would haunt me to the end of my days. No locked door or distance could protect me from the shadow she permanently cast across my world. I was forever her tortured prisoner.